What do we do with all these cans? Seem to pick them up at Lowe's and they just keep growing and growing and growing. And I'm sitting there, I had them all in different drawers down here in these things right here. And it'd take me 5-10 minutes to find the paint, because it was just not organized. And I had one, two, three, four, five of them little guys that were storing up paint. Anyway, so I was sitting there looking around. My shop's tight. I've got stuff, and I'm looking for room. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, where have I got room? And so I started looking around. I thought, well, I got some room up there. And I thought, well, okay. So I measured in between my little joist up here on my rack. I had an average a little over 21 inches. So I decided I'd make a box that's 21 inches. And there it is there. I just glued that up yesterday and stuck some cans in it. But it's basically a box jointed box with holes in it. And it's got a little guy down there in the bottom of it that allows the cans to line up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this thing vertically with two mounting things off the side. And they'll mount to the shelf off of this right here. So they'll mount off of this faceplate here and hang down. I think it's 5, 6 inch, 7 inches or so. So they'll hang down and they'll be at a little bit of an angle so that the cans are tilted a little bit. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing. And I got this part of it designed pretty much, but I still need two more. And I've got them on the CNC out of some old cheapo Luan plywood. And this is the first one that I've kind of designed up. And, that's, as always, you sit there and think, well, is this going to be something that's going to work, or is it not going to work, or what's wrong with it, or like that? So, as you can see, the modeling of the paint is good. You can see the brand names, and so that height of it's really pretty good. And of course, you're always dropping lids when I was doing all that before. And so there I am there now. As you can see, I put this together in here wet. And it almost a little bit glued in there. But anyway, that's all box jointed. It weighs a little bit of nothing. I priced a metal rack, and they were like $69 on Amazon for, like maybe twice that size. And I have, well, I don't know, probably $4 invested in that, in the plywood, and a little bit of glue. Anyway, that's got the backside is sealed. The sides are sealed. Hadn't been sanded or nothing. Just glued up. And you can make them smooth if you want to, but you don't really care about it. Anyway, I'll probably run a sander over it. But I'm going to make two more of these boxes, and they're going to hang right here in this area here. So, and I'll probably put them at a little bit of an angle. And, I haven't really decided how I'm going to hang them up in there. But basically, for the biggest part, I'm not using a lot of that space right above there, so I'm going to be able to put some paint right in there, and my walk along in there, so I have to clean this up just a little bit in that respect. And I might be able to get a little more clearance out of that. I don't want to mess up that. So anyway, my brackets here on the side will be a little dependent on that, and these will stack together. And of course, if you wanted to put these on the wall, you could, put them together, hang them on the wall vertically. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing. And that's the project for today. I'm going to go ahead and finish laying this out in a spire or V-carve and get it going. I need to lay out down inside here. I use like a 1-inch spacer board at the bottom, so that would be all nice and solid. And of course, that one's not box jointed, which I could, but for the sake of easy, it's just as easy to glue in a couple little strips in just a minute or two. Some 1-inch strips, along that support the perimeter of the box on the inside. So there we go. And you know, it don't take very long to put it up. You gotta have a lot of clamps to glue it up, but you know, it's pretty solid for being 1/4 inch plywood. So all right, so let's go get it laid out. All right, a little bit about this spray paint can storage box with 2 rows in it. It says 2 robs, it's 2 rows. Anyway, this file is basically set up to carve this on a CNC machine, so you really won't need anything other than a 24 inch by 24 inch 1/4 inch piece of plywood. To make one of these sets of cans, you'll need 2 of them, and they fit on my CNC just fine. This is the view straight down. These are the holes for the cans, and the orange lines there are the 1 inch spacers that keep this spacer down in the box about a 1 inch off the floor, so the bottom of the cans will fit through that. Of course, there's the top sections right up here at the top as well. So this one is just a square board, and the other one is a box joint board. Of course, there's your cans fitting down. This is a side view, and there's your spacers. Basically, the spacers go around to support the can spacer shelf. Then also they go in the middle, and that's there. These are the parts that cut out. And let's go over to the sheet here. We'll zoom in on that. There's your one end. These are your ends, your sides. That's a side. And then this is the shelf that we were just previously talking about. This is one of the 1 inch spacers. And these are the 4 1 inch spacers that go in. So they're cut out by the CNC machine. Then we'll go over here to this other page, the other sheet. And of course, this is your box jointed box with the top. This is the very top of the box, and these are the other side. And then this is the bottom of the box, which would not have any holes in it. And the note there says you'll need to cut both of these sheets to get this to lay out. So anyway, this is a solid little box, cost-wise, material-wise, 1/4 of a sheet, $15. So, you know, $3, $4 a piece. And to make a rack, you know, a can box that will fit these many cans, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So, and what I'm doing is, of course, in the video I showed you with that, but they basically will hang from the bottom of a shelf and stick out at a little bit of angle. I'll have a support on each side of the box, like right in there on each side, so that the box will be able to hang down at a little bit of an angle. And so they won't be just flat out 90 degrees. They'll be at a small angle, maybe 50, 55 degrees or so. I'm not sure just yet on that. Anyway, that's that part of it. And these are my tool paths. They basically just use a 1/8 inch end mill, and they go through there and cut them. And cut the whole box out didn't take, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe to cut all the parts out, and then you know, quick glue up with a bunch of clamps. Box joints require lots of clamps, so I'll use a bunch of spring clamps, and then in an hour's time. Doesn't need any nails, don't need any, you know, all you need is a little bit of glue. I do put glue in on these pieces here whenever I'm gluing them in. Instabond CA glue is really handy for that. I would also double up with the Titebond 3 glue as well. So on all these little spacers, they have like some Titebond on there, and then they have some of the Instabond, which puts them in instantly. Then the other glue is a very permanent situation. So anyway, this shelf just sits down on top of the spacers, and of course it's all just shot in with a lot of glue, and all the box joints are glued, and it works out real well. All right, that cutout was 9 minutes. I just used my 23 gauge pin nail, tack that down, and it puts a few little tacks, 1/2 inch tacks. They pull out really easy. Sometimes I get a tack in that. That one didn't have any in it, and it rode just fine. The 1/8 inch doesn't seem to push things around too much, and as long as something's stable, it does a good job. And then of course I cut all of the panels out, so I'm going to load up, vacuum it, and then load up the next piece and get her in there. So there we go. All right, once I've done that, I just go around and I pull these little tacks out of there. And what's nice about the 23 gauge pin nails, they're soft enough that they don't affect the cutter. And I've done literally hundreds and hundreds of these. I have never once seen where these cause any issue with the cutter. The only thing I get a deal is occasionally I get stuck with a pin nail, and it's, you know, it's a lot of fun. It adds more to it. I've got a couple in the back there, and I don't remember if I put any in here or not. And what I do is I just run my pliers across there, and the dikes seem to do the best. And I just throw them down there because they vacuum right up. And the dikes seem to do the best for all-around use. Get that one in the very back over on the side, and then we'll vacuum this. All right, let's load up the next one, and it's called Sheet 2 Cut Circles. And we'll run that on there. It's 1/4 inch material. Next, okay. Turn on the vac. There she is up there running, getting outside. Click the start button. Away that goes. While we're doing that, I just got back from Menards. This is $22 a sheet. It's just 1/4 inch Luan, and it's, you know, it's the cheapest stuff that I can get. That's still wood and plywood. And I cut it into two 24-inch sections, so I just measured 24 inches out on everything. I did square up the corners and drill the hole and put a screw in each corner to hold it all together. And then I'll probably put some pin nails in it just to hold it while I'm putting on it. Some 1.5 inch, 10 or 1.25 inch pin nails. It's only 3/4. But anyway, I was sitting there trying to think of, my saw is on a offset, and I'm trying to figure out a way that I can use that and just build me a gauge or something that's an automatic offset without having to measure it. I don't know, it may be just easier to measure it. Let me go get my saw. All right, I've got some 1/2 inchers in there right now. I'm gonna leave them out there because I'll be putting them back in here in a second, or in about 10 minutes. Anyway, while I'm doing the panels, I'm gonna put the longest one I've got. It's like maybe 1 3/8 inches. Not really sure what it is. The arrows just go down. And if you don't have a 23 gauge pin nail, this guy right here in this Milwaukee, you're making a mistake. That thing is handy and works good. So I'm going to go out here and shoot some pins in the plywood to keep it together in the sections, because I've got 3 sections. And so we're up here in the corners. I'll put them in there, and that way it'll hold them together while I cut them loose. All right, that took 4 minutes. Right at 4 minutes to cut those out. I'm not going to gather them just so that I don't have them binding up on anything that's loose. You know, the 1/8 inch doesn't throw stuff very much, and it rarely will, you know, bind up. 1/4 inch, yeah, it'll throw up, and then sometimes it gets in a bind. But I collect them and try and keep them out of them. You'll find them back in here. You'll find them anywhere. So the best thing to do is just to get them out of your way and then proceed on with the cut. All right, we're going to run sheet number 2 cut out. So tap that one. It says sheet number 2 is cut out, and then next. Okay, start. And then we'll go around there and cut out all those box joints. Get them all lined out and ready to go. All right, I just measured from here on this saw to that. It's 1 3/8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut me an 1 3/8 inch strip so I can put this on the line, and then put an 1 3/8 inch strip in there, and that will give me the gauge for cutting it out. So let me go get that done. All right, while my little friend's over there cutting them out, I've been using this to cut that. This works good for just a real quick alignment. Put it on the line and put the saw across there, and it cuts it nice and straight for sure. Yeah, there I did. This thing here popped up in the middle of the deal there because I had it stretched across there. And then I ruined, or not ruined, but I took a little bit out of 3 pieces. Most of the time I can use it, but it's aggravating. It has been a piece of finished material. I'd rather off to made a nice table for it to cut on a piece of foam. But I didn't, and there it is. So we'll cut those out on the table saw now at 24 inches, make them nice and square. Alright, I ripped them in half off the table saw, sitting there at 24 inches. And there's those two parts together. I'm going to take this one out. It just finished. It took about 13 minutes to cut that one out. The other one was 9 minutes. This has a few more little pieces of work to do. And my little parts over there went flying. We'll see what they are, but they're just spacer parts. So we'll see what we got. Alright, there's my cutout. And that's what's left of it. I got a little bit of stuff there. I'll probably cut it out and save it. And there's one of my other cutouts from the other side. And here are my parts. But I seem to be missing a couple little crisscrosses in there, and I wonder where they're at. So all you guys that have your machines that are all encased and you can't get access to the back, guess what? Watch this. Well, there we go. At the very back behind all this, on the other opposite end of the machine, there's this, a couple of the circles, and a little bit of cleanup to do. While I'm over here, I'll just vacuum that up real quick, and then we'll load up the next one. All right, I'm gonna get her done, and I just use it, you know, with this cover. I just use a little shop vac, and it's running over in their corner. You can hear the shop vac running right over here, and that's one of the DeWalt Quiet Text, and I have it on a fast cap reel, so that goes down in the machine. But that's running, and I don't know, I'm getting older or why, but I want to keep the stuff that's cleaning out of the way. But, you know, hey, it does a good job. Quick pickup of stuff out of there, gets it ready for the next one. So we'll go over here and pick this up. I've got probably a few nails in there I need to pick up out of it. I'll just run this over here. And them 1/2-inch pin nails, I could just bend them over, but I generally try and pull them out of there. So let's go ahead and clean that up. There's one right there. Okay, looking at my spool board, this is that 1/4-inch piece of plywood. That's my scoreboard. These two here are my jig boards. And I flattened this enough times from a 3/4 inch that it's down to probably about 5/8 now. And I flatten it every now and then when I get my screws and stuff in there, and I just flatten it for that reason. But now all I have to do is glue on another piece of 1/4 inch with wood glue, or 3/4 inch, and then it'll bring it back up to here. This is a good system. It allows you to jig up, allows you to shoot nails in it, allows you to put screws in it. And when it gets all cut up, I don't have to sand my pieces. They come out because they're cut all the way through. They're cut out, and they're clean. And so that works out good. And when this gets really, really bad, I can flip it over, and I'll have a flat surface on the other side, and I'll cut it up until, you know, it's that. But it's basically flat. It's just cut out. So there we go. All right, put 12 pin nails in there. She's ready to go. She's clean. Let me tell it to go to my Z's intersection. I'm gonna go down there and check it real quick. Then I'll repeat that last process, and it's ready to go. So I'll repeat my last process, starting with that other one, and those 4 tool paths. I'll cut out circles and let that run, and then go on through. So let me get that done. Well, that's what happens when you lose your Z. This thing ended up out here and way over here on this side. So as you can see, I had one of these guys flip up in that circle, and what happens is it gets that in a bind. So they'll flip up and they'll get in a bind, and then they'll keep the Z from moving, and it over limits the Z, or the X and Y, or the Z, and you know, basically it gets in a bind, and so sets it off. Anyway, so we don't want that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and cut another piece in there and use that for the learning curve. All right, I really like using instant bond. Put little dots of it in there, and then spray this piece here that goes to it, line it up and drop it, and it's glued. And then the yellow glue or the Tide Bond glue will hold it for, you know, forever. All right, glue the other one in there. Just remember that has to be in set a 1/4 inch on there as well, because this piece is going to take up that spot. So let's come down here and put this other one in here, and about right in there. Let's put some glue on it and get her done. All right, I did the same thing with these. Just shot a little bit of the drops of the instant accelerator, instant adhesive, and then the yellow glue type bond. And then I sprayed it and then stuck them down there because I knew that's where they would go. So that would be on there, and I'll put this in there when I get the box just about ready to glue up. In fact, I could probably go ahead and glue it on there first, and then after I get everything glued, because it'll shift into position easy enough. Of course, these pieces here, this fits on top of here like this, so like that, and then that makes that like that joint there. So that's what that's supposed to do. So let me get this thing glued up and see what we can do with it. All right, went around and put glue on all the tongues. I always put them together. I put the clean the side inside because I'm going to sand the outside gently. So that makes it all fit together, and I haven't had to sand anything yet off the CNC. So let's put it together and start putting some box joints on it. All right, fold them all in. Of course, I got glue running all the edges there. I can glue some or wipe that off, but I'll probably just leave it on there because I won't see it inside anyway. That's what it slid together. Let's put the middle part in. We'll put some glue around all the edges and stick it down in there. And that'll be next. Okay, drop that in. And I'm going to put a little bit of dab of glue around all of these. And then I'll put in the top. If I was really conscientious, I could glue that or, wipe the glue. But I'm just going to put it on there. Okay. So we're on there. Ends on there. Lots of clamps on there. I want to caution you to check this thing here, make the inside thing, make sure that it hasn't moved up. When you do it upside down, sometimes it'll slide up. So you want to make sure that the last thing you do is push it down onto the glue, while the gravity will hold it down there. You don't want it gluing in there cattywampus. So anyway, so that's back in there straight, and that's all done and said. That's the second one of those, and we're moving on to the third one. Well, let's get her going. All right, that's now a total of 3. They go faster and faster all the time, and we'll figure out how we want to mount them up. All right, came up with a bracket that ties it into this 1x4 up here. Everything's mounted to 1x4. I rounded over the edges of the box so they're not really sharp in here. Should be pretty solid. If it gets bumped, I put 1/4-inch underlayment on the side of it. It will break if it's really, really hard, but I mean, it won't break very fast. So, wait, that's that. It's about the right angle, and I'm looking to take that space up. So I'm going to hang the other 2 right up there, and went ahead and made these parts and patterns out. Got 2 on each side, and then I've got the 2 parts here, and I've got 2 of them drying up out there, so they're ready to sand and to put these parts on. So we'll be done here in just a little bit. Let me get her done. All right, that's what she looks like. Putting together, a little glue out down there, and you get rid of that. And get rid of that glue run. All right, you'll notice this V's right here at the tops of these right here. So when they fit up inside there, this goes against the 1x4 like that, and then the 1x4 settles down right there on top of that. And of course, it's almost like that when it's at that degree. So, and then of course I glued these and screwed them, shot them with pin nails to hold them for a second. And now we're going to mount them up there next to that one. And what's nice about this is you just stick it up and run the drills in because it's self lines and stuff. So let's get her done. All right, there's number 2. Get some cans in there. All right, they're in there. I need to put some more cans over there on the side. But they're there. They could butt right next to each other if I was not up against the joist right there between that first and second section there. There's a joist right there that it copies around. So anyhow, there's that. And this end shelf right there, it's lined up and go to town. So we'll see how that works. And hopefully that's going to be good. All right. The supports for this is in Aspire. Basically, I've taken 3/4-inch pieces of this 1/4-inch plywood, and they're 21-inch long. And these 3 will glue together real quickly, and then you'll probably mount it, or put it in here. I generally used a pin nail, glued it, and then put a couple screws in each end of it, and in these side supports, and then that was then in this position. And then this shelf, the top of the glue rack actually fits right in here and down, so it sits right in here. And then this is the face of your cans here. Anyway, that point right there is where the top of the glue box on the box jointed box fits right there. So that gives it the right amount. And then of course you run screws up through this board right here into your shelf there. So that's worked out good. And yeah, so we got her done.